bolts. Y'all know when I got a bunch of stuff straight about. Y'all know I usually keep it clean, but y'all know when I got a bunch of stuff straight out, I got going hard at it. It's a nice day out, and so already worked on a couple things, but I'm going to work on these two now. These are kind of the last two, I guess you could say, of the Walmart customer return push mower pile that I have to fix, and I saved kind of the worst for last. I always try and get the easy stuff done first and then do the harder stuff a little bit later. That way I have inventory to sell when it's time. So these are, I'm going to make into one good one essentially. So this first one here is a Hyper Tough. It had the 300 series Briggs on it. It's blown up. It's thrown a connecting rod. So hopefully, you know, the crank and everything's still good on it. This one right here is a 450 series. This is the big wheel Murray push mowers that you find at Walmart. And what I have found is that the blade has been severely bent on it. It hit something really hard, and as a result it has bent the shaft on it, and it has also cracked the base plate. Now if you've watched my channel, you know that this is a very common issue. Whenever you hit something with these mowers, especially if you hit something hard, it'll crack the base plate on them. So this one got pretty good. What I'm planning to do is I'm planning to look in both, look inside both motors to make sure they're both good, and then I'm going to hopefully swap the crankshaft from this engine over to this engine, as well as the base plate, and have a good push mower. The crankshaft length is a little bit shorter on these than these, but it's not enough to really make much of a difference. It may be like a quarter to a half an inch, just to accommodate the way that the deck designs are. It's really not that much of a difference to make it so that I can't put it on this nicer deck, because that's about $30 difference between getting on this mower and this mower. So I'm going to do that. What I'm going to start off by doing, y'all see me do it a bunch of times, I'm just going to do some housekeeping stuff, drain the oil off, take the blade off of both of them, and we'll pursue everything afterwards. I'm going to go ahead and take the engine off as well. It's very easy. I'll just show you how to do it if you don't know. The blade's a 9/16, which I've already got off of this, so I just need some 9/16 inch and impact or a wrench, ratchet and socket. Get the motor off. We'll look inside it and see if it's good, and same thing with that one. So when I get the motors off, I'll get to that point, and then we'll tear them both apart. Alrighty, y'all, the doctor is preparing for surgery, so to speak here. There's 7 3/8 inch bolts. 4, 5, 6, 7 right there on each of these mowers. You can see that the shaft length is a little bit different. It's about, how much? I've changed one of these out before and put them on a different mower. Get a tape measure here and tape it off. There's a 2 inch, about 2 1/2. I put a shorter shaft one on one of those type mowers before, and I didn't have any issues with it cutting and stuff like that. It just cuts a little higher, which really isn't the worst thing in the world. Clears the blade and all that too. So 3/8 inch, I'm going to take these off, and then we will see inside of each of these motors. And I don't know if you can see if that shaft is bent right there or not, but it is bent. I believe it's bent, but whenever I was moving it, it looked like it was bent, so we got to look at it just right. We'll inspect it when we get the cover off. If we find that it's not bent, then we'll just keep the cover back on it, or keep the same crankshaft in it, and we'll go from there. Alright, so surgery is in progress, so to speak. You can definitely see that this shaft has gotten bent. If you can see it with the naked eye. I think you can see it on video right there. And also, it was notably harder to get this base plate off than that base plate. Now, the one, just throwing it in the trash here, got to take my trash out. The one notable thing that I have found is that, and I'm going to be kicking myself for this too, this motor right here, I looked inside it, I thought it was blown up. The connecting rod is fully intact. It looks good on the inside. It had a little bit of oil in it. What I think happened, and I'm going to see if I can grab some vice grips and turn this through pliers or something or another. What I think has happened is, I looked down here and it didn't have a spark plug in it, and this was sitting on the nut, or on the on the top of a bolt. The wire was. That's one thing that I know I did not do. So I could have, I get 40-ish of these every year. I'll tighten a little bit too much. I get about 40 of these every year, and so I pulled this one, I remember, and I got no compression. What felt like no compression, and it felt like it was just moving around, you know, on its own accord, right? I look inside here and there's no spark plug, so I am suspecting that I just tore this base plate off for nothing, and that I probably have a good motor right here as long as I put a spark plug in it. The more you know, right? It doesn't really waste a lot of my time anyways. Only took maybe 15 minutes to do this, but let's see if I can turn this engine. I might have to take the little brake spring off there. I don't really have a good way to put y'all down. Actually, I might put you in here. There we go. Piston, if the piston and everything's moving like it's supposed to. So I think this motor doesn't have a spark plug in it. Oh boy. I'm just gonna do a couple more revolutions just to make sure that it's good. Take that off for a second. That's just the governor. It's got a little bit of oil in it as it is, so yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this thing, unless the rings are just completely shot on it, which I doubt is the case. So, oh boy. Well, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to clean off this gasket. I'm going to put some gasket maker on it. Just clean everything off and put it back onto the mower here. I might could get by with just putting it back on the way that it is. And actually, for the purposes of what I'm doing here, I might just do that since it doesn't take but 10-15 minutes. I don't want to put a spark. I don't want to put all the gasket maker and stuff on it and then find out that it's nothing wrong, or that it is terminal damage, which, I mean, it's kind of like if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it is a duck. And I don't see any terminal damage with this thing, so getting that governor on difficult though, and I'll tell you that. Sorry if I'm all up in the way of this shot. I'm just trying to make sure that I get the governor back onto the onto it. Something's fighting me, and I don't quite know what it is. I don't think the teeth are quite lined up. Do this. The governor's lined up. There we go. Never force that thing on there. It's the last thing you want to do. Like I said, I'm just putting this thing back on just to see if it works. And if it doesn't leak, then... Alright, so smaller bolt goes in the back. Remember, we strip your metal bolts and aluminum threads, so don't tighten the mess out of them. Get them started, and then you can finish them off with an impact if you would like. I like using the light impact because it doesn't provide enough force to strip the bolts, and me with a 1/4-inch ratchet is a dangerous combination when it comes to stripping bolts sometimes. So pop these back on here. Star pattern. That's good enough. Alright. So, while it's on the bench here, let me source a spark plug. But first, let me just show you how much crud got into this motor that had the bad sump gasket on it. Or not, it wasn't a bad gasket, it actually had a hole in it, so it shoved a bunch of dirt and stuff up in there. And so that's not good for the motor. But, turn events here. Let's see if this thing, if I put a spark plug in it, will actually turn and have some compression. If it does, I'll put it back on the mower. We'll see if we get it running again. This whole video is just kind of all to nothing because I thought I was going to have to make 2 bad ones into 1 good one. So I just turn it with the pliers. This thing's got compression, and I'm an idiot. Oh well. Alright, so let me put it back on the mower. Let me find a... I've got to find a engine cover for it that I want to make the 300 series engine cover on it. I got a couple down there that one of them I need to restring, and then we will probably have a running mower. Truthfully. That is so... I do dumb things. This one's a pretty dumb one, but at least it didn't really cost me a lot of time or any money, so I'll take it. Alright, so part of me feels a little dumb. Again, not seeing that there was no spark plug on this one. This deck I'll just use for another day, another project. So I got it all back together. We'll see if it leaks any oil or not. If it does, then, you know, we'll we'll take care of it by putting a new sump gasket on it. But, you know, that ain't that big of a deal. I just want to make sure it ran first. Let's see if it does. So it's running pretty good. Let it run for a little while, we'll catch back up with it. Alright, so checking back in here. As you can see, it's running great. I stole the bail handle off of another mower, but I got this one. Ended up having to kink the steel cable a little bit in order for it to work. I've done that many a times and haven't had an issue. So again, just letting it run. All I'm going to do is check to make sure there's no oil leakage anywhere. By just letting it sit for a day or two. And after that, I'll add it to the pile over here. As you can see, that's another good one. And like I said, it's sometimes I guess it's just not what you think it is when it's something wrong with something. So go figure with that. But yeah, I'm just going to add it to the mower pile, and like I said, hopefully that won't leak. If it does, I'll just pull it back, pull that gasket back off, and redo the gasket. I just want to make sure it ran first. But thank y'all for watching. And like I said, sometimes it's not as hard as you think it is to fix something. Obviously that base plate's not going to miraculously heal itself, so I have a good core engine though if I ever need it. If I have one that's blown up and has a good base plate. I didn't have that this year. But yeah, so a couple good parts, no harm, no foul. There's another mower ready and another, you know, $80–90 coming my way, just for something pretty easy, which would have been easier if I'd have just looked a little bit harder, but that's okay. I saw it didn't have any oil in it. I saw it didn't have compression in it, so just going through my assessment, I thought it was blown up. Didn't feel like it had compression. Not even enough to where, like, even if there was no spark plug in it type of compression. Just kind of weird. But thank y'all for watching. More push mower content coming. I've got it all strode out right now because I've been working all day on this stuff. Ride mower content. Most of these items probably will are already fixed. But I'll catch y'all in the next video. Again, Instagram at Ellis Mowers 09. Same thing with Facebook if you want to follow me there. And catch you then.